Hello, I'm Steph from iDriver Classic and I am so excited today because I am living out my entire childhood dream of driving the Outspan Orange. Now if you've never seen one of these before, well, I'm not surprised because they only made 6 of them between 1972 and 1974 as a promotional vehicle for Outspan, the company that, well, I was going to say made oranges, but essentially imported them. And they were in the UK, France, Germany and South Africa. So you may have never even seen one on your home turf. These are a rare beast indeed. Now, I'll tell you the story today, but I have a childhood connection to this car and I am living the dream showing you this today, and we are going to do everything. We're going to have a look around the outside and see how it's been made. We'll have a look at where they've hidden the engine, because when a vehicle's an orange, what do you do about something like that? And then we are going to take it out for a drive. Now we won't be going far and we won't be going fast, because if you go above 30 miles per hour, it rolls over. So join me today. We are testing the Outspan Orange. It's the 1970s and the Outspan company are in some serious trouble, which is a whole video in itself, but there were troubles with the apartheid, how workers were treated and the political landscape of where the company was sourcing their oranges. Now this is a car channel, not a politics channel, and politics is not my specialism. Therefore in today's video we're focusing on the car, not the politics behind the company. And if you want to find out more about the politics, there is plenty of stuff online, but I'm certainly not the source for it. However, the car, you're in the right place. Anyway, I'm not sure it would be a solid marketing strategy in the 21st century, but the company decided the way to win hearts and minds was to create these memorable Outspan Orange cars, and they were going to use those in regional, national and international marketing campaigns. And the vehicles were ridiculous and brilliant in equal measure, built largely from components from Minis of the time, or as we now know it, the classic Mini. The Oranges were designed with 2 subframes taken from the Mini, fitted to a short space frame chassis to give the vehicle a wheelbase of 48 inches, which gives you a fairly decent turning circle of 16 feet and 6 inches. Now, although there's no bonnet and you're accessing the engine from inside the cabin, the underpinning rationale remains the same. So it's a little bit like the Mini. The front subframe supports the engine, which by the way is a 998 A series engine. You'll recognise it if you're into Minis. They used it in loads of stuff. It's also got the automatic gearbox as used in the classic Mini of the time, and the front suspension. Again, classic Mini suspension on these, so nothing really too wacky and weird. The rear subframe holds the rear suspension, but that's not all, because to stop the Orange rolling away like a marble on a coffee table or toppling over like some sort of lurid Humpty Dumpty, there's also 200 pounds of ballast in the back too, which by the way you don't really feel when you're driving. However, despite that 998cc engine being capable of speeds in excess of 60 miles per hour in a Mini, and if you know how to mess with an engine you can get a lot more than 60, the top speed in one of these is 30 miles per hour, because you guessed it, any faster and you're going to be rolling away. Now you're probably wondering how many of these delicious vehicles were made. Well, it might not surprise you to find out there were only ever 6. So 5 were used across the UK and mainland Europe, and they were used predominantly in the UK, France and Germany, and then 1 headed off to South Africa. And in fact, recently somebody was telling me about seeing one in Johannesburg, so it must have been there at some point. Now there are at least 4 survivors that I could track down online, but I suspect that I could probably find at least 1 more, or maybe 2, with a bit of digging. Another one, if you'd like to see one, and Beaulieu Motor Museum is a little bit too far for you to get to, there's another one at the Grampian Transport Museum in Scotland. And also you might have seen one of these before, because Ed China has been restoring one on YouTube. Now the love for these will never expire, unlike the traditional orange you find in your fruit bowl at home. Made from 1972 to 1974, each one is slightly different, and in a way it makes them even more special in their very own right. This one that we're testing here today is on permanent display at Beaulieu Motor Museum. So if you are desperate to see it in the peel, as it were, you can find it on display at the museum. They've I've seen it move around a couple of times, so if you go in, a member of staff will be able to signpost you. It's definitely a long timer because it was there when I was a child over 30 years ago, and without this car I probably wouldn't love cars as much as I do today. So if you can't visit straight away, don't worry, because I don't think it's rolling off to pastures new anytime soon. Now, come on, let's get inside, have a proper look. I'll show you these controls and then we are going out for a drive. Coming inside here is so much fun because this combines everything that I love. The silliness of old school motoring, there's so many silly things that you see done, like custom cars and stuff like that. That 70s pastiche where nobody took themselves too seriously. And of course, the absolute mania of everything being orange and slightly plasticky. It's like being in my own home. Now, coming inside here, you can so see that everything has been built off that mini chassis. So we were talking about that as we were looking round, and it was built, remember, by Brian Waite Enterprises. But if you forget, there are, I'm sure you've already seen, badges literally everywhere all over the car. So there's one over here that says designed and constructed 1972, and it wasn't actually built that far away from here because it was done in Beaulieu in Sussex, which I didn't realise until I got here. Now, there's lots of controls that you are going to recognise if you are a BMC BL fanatic or you've driven a classic Mini in the past. So you've got these air vents, they're used in so many British Leyland products, coming down into that Smith's temperature gauge that you see across everything. Now, really, the person with the temperature gauge should be me because it is hot in here. It's like a little mini orange oven. It is boiling, whether it's the windows or the pleather seats or what it is, or that sun that's finally joined us again in Great Britain. My God, it is so hot in here. I am boiling. I'm wearing crimply, nothing is right. It's the first time I've been warm in ages, so I'm not going to complain too much. Anyway, coming back to the car, you have got your speedo in the centre here. Now, you'll recognise the speedo. It's used in so many BMC BL products. You've got it in the Mini, you've got it in the Morris Minor. It's just such a familiar instrument for me. And then coming over here, you've got your oil pressure gauge. And then you come up into this mini control panel here. So you've got your choke, you've got your wipers, and yes, has got wipers on the orange, which is just ridiculous. You've got your windscreen washer, you've got your headlights, and you've got what I now know as the mystery switch, but I think it's for the, I think it's for the panel lights. So, you know, when you just look at things, you think, oh, it slipped my mind. Now, coming down from here, you're probably going to wonder what this is. Now, I had to look in the engine bay to work this out. And if you hadn't realised, by the way, when we looked at the engine bay earlier, it was literally here. So guess what? It's hot because of this as well, because all that separates you is this tiny little hatch. And all it's got is a magnetic clip. It doesn't even have a screw down or anything. It's that lackadaisical attention to health and safety in the 70s that so many of us love. Handbrake here. Coming in front of us here is the Motorlita steering wheel. Now, I did ask if this had been put on retrospectively, but apparently this was fitted when the vehicle's new, or it was certainly designed. You've got your indicator over here. You've got a kill switch, which obviously I won't be touching. You've got another air vent, which is bringing in zero air. And you've got your Brian Waite badging here as well. And on this, now we were talking about it being taken, all the bits and pieces being taken off a Mini. Now, I was really shocked because I've never been inside one of these. I've only ever seen them outside, and so what I didn't realise was that it was an auto and not a manual. So this probably explains why I'm sitting like this as well. It feels a lot more natural when I first got in, but I realised on the first take of the video that I might accidentally show you what I had for dinner last night, so I thought I'm just going to get in this position now. So down here you've got two pedals that are really close together. You've got your brake to the left and accelerator to the right, and of course this is just your dead leg that's doing absolutely nothing. And so to get it to start, it is a little bit of a tricky mistress. But before that, I just need to show you the ceiling. How cool is this? Now, I love a bit of ingenious trim, and this has been done to look like the inside of an orange. And yeah, I love it. There is not a single thing that I dislike about this car. It is brilliant. I mean, starting up is a little bit of a challenge because you have to you have to get this transmission just the right position to get it to start. So octopus time, so I'm going to hold that there. Come on. There we go. I'm just going to move myself around. Right, do you want to see what it's all about? Because this is so funny. We go down into drive, by the way, to do our driving. Now remember, you've got a top speed on these of 30 miles per hour. Not because the manufacturers suggested that, because of course it's got that 998cc engine in from a Mini. It's because if you go any faster than 30, the thing will roll or tip. And I don't want to be a little rolling orange around a museum today, so I'm going to actually just stick to the speed limit. Now the one thing you notice as soon as you take this out is that everyone is waving and smiling, and that for me is lovely, because one of my earliest memories of being out and about is coming to Beaulieu Motor Museum as a child, because I grew up in Hampshire, which of course isn't too far away, and school took us on a day out here because my family weren't car people, so this definitely wouldn't have been on the list of places we went. And my resounding memory of the entire day was looking at the horses out the window and being really excited, and this particular car, and I was in love with the Outspan Orange. I was talking about it when I went home. I was like, oh my god, I've seen it's orange and it's a car, and I said, oh, I'd really like to drive one of those, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And it really sparked a very early love of motoring. And so for me, seeing children today get excited about the Outspan Orange is really emotional, because I'm like, I hope that some of these kids look at the Outspan and think, yeah, cars are really cool, because there'll be a lot of people out there like my family that aren't interested but have a member of the family that are, and places like Beaulieu are great because they get kids excited about cars. Now you're probably wondering what it's like to turn. Well, it's a bit ridiculous. As I told you, the turning circle is just over 16 feet, but it gets us round this little roundabout. Now we aren't going out on the open road today because number one, it's not taxed, and number two, I don't think I'd want to take it out, because I've had enough people stopping in front of it to take photographs while we're trying to drive and almost falling over themselves. I saw a child fall over earlier, just staring and being like, oh my god. It's like, hey, and I don't really want to risk it out on the open road, so I hope you can understand. But it's just great. I can't get over it. This is the best day out of my entire adult life. If you'd said to me as a child, one day you will drive that orange, I don't know what I would have done. I think I would have just lost it, because it is so good. I just really, really love it. And you know what, I'm sure many of you have driven a Mini, so I don't need to explain to you that a Mini's handling is just superb. Really, it is unrivaled for its time. And coming inside here, everybody said to me, oh, it's a right old pig to drive. But actually, I don't think it's that bad. I've driven plenty that's worse than this. And I also got asked, what is it like driving a circle? So that was from cameraman Richard, and I said to him, I said, look, I said, it's really weird because you get inside, and once you're over the fact that you're inside a giant orange in something that looks like it could be in an Austin Powers remake, you soon forget that you are in an orange, and you just drive it like a normal vehicle, which is probably how people have built up enough confidence to tip it. Because actually, I think that in a hurry, if I could probably get up above 30, I was having a little poot around earlier and I was getting up to 15 miles per hour. It's just great. Honestly, this is one of the best days of my entire life. It's certainly the highlight of my iDriver Classic career to date. It's glorious, absolutely glorious, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's an easy thing to drive, and I'd really dreaded driving it in some ways, because I thought, oh god, what if it's really strange and it's too much, or it feels, you know, because everybody had said, oh, it's a really tricky thing to drive. But but actually once you get into it, it's all right. I mean, the one thing I will say is the brake and the accelerator are really close, and even though I'm wearing my slimmest shoes, my feet do keep slipping, so that slightly puts you on edge. But apart from that, it's absolutely bang on the money. It's really easy to drive. It's a nice little thing. I mean, I'm doing 15 miles per hour now, and although I'm being thrown around a little bit, and it's very bumpy and it shouldn't be, it should be a lot smoother than this, it's great. I think it's perfectly easy to drive. Let me tell you now, if this was all I had to get me to work on a commute and everything else was broken, I would happily get in this. I will say as well that it is of course drum brakes all round, but I mean, look, remember it's a Mini we're using, it's not anything more modern, so of course it's drum brakes. I'm really not surprised. And we're just pootling around. Now remember, as I said to you earlier, there were 6 of these, so if you are ever lucky enough to see another one of these, and there was one that got sent to South Africa, and then there were the 5 that were here. So there were out of the 5, I think there's 2 or 3 in this country now. I think there's one up in a museum in Scotland, there's the one here, Ed China's got one, there's one somewhere else in a museum, I think it might be Germany, because I went to Germany and France as well, and then there's the one in South Africa. So if you are lucky enough to see another one of these, the one thing I will say is that when they were built from 72 to 74, each time the company made these, because they're coach built, they would say, oh, actually we could improve by doing X, Y and Z, and then they would change it. So if you ever see another one, you might notice that it's different, because they are all individual in their own special way. But coming out in this today is a dream realised. I have had the best day, and I know I keep saying it, but I don't care. There's nothing that I can really criticise apart from the close proximity of the pedals, which puts you slightly on edge. I would absolutely love to take this on a commute. I would go anywhere in this. It is fabulous. Don't worry about the heat. Don't worry about the fact that Perspex screen is slightly sketchy. It is everything that I hoped it would be, and so much more. So 10 out of 10 for absolute road appeal, and I can't think of any more orange jokes. So I guess from me today, that's it. Until next time when we meet again and we're driving something probably a lot more normal, take care and drive safely.